Allison Gomez, licensed marriage and family therapist in California. I have a private practice where I help individuals and I provide group therapy and let's see, really good stuff. Yay! Yay! Wait, what?
In Bakersfield.
Oh, in Bakersfield. Today we're going to be talking about Ragatha from The Amazing Digital Circus because, one, I did not realize there's so much Ragatha hate. Like, that blows my brain because she's just fantastic.
Ay, juela.
But also, like, people get really annoyed at her for her like people-pleasing tendencies, how she like is desperately trying to make sure that people like her, and I think I've seen a few people be like say things like, oh, just kind of like get over it, like just move on, like just stop. Like they view her as manipulative and like I don't know, it like blows my brain. Like as a therapist, it just blows my brain because all I see is like, wow, Ragatha has so much trauma. She has so much relational trauma. Like she does these fawning behaviors because she's trying to like not get abandoned because, you know, like turns out humans like to like have people who care for them. And if you're like desperate to keep people and liking you and to like have them continue to like you, like it's, I don't know, you're gonna do what you need to do to be able to feel emotionally safe. And if that means you have to pretty much kill every like the little individual parts of you to maintain that safety, so be it. I'm not justifying or excusing or whatever. I'm just saying it just makes sense. Like Ragatha has so much trauma and it's hard for her to authentically be herself because it sounds like she didn't really get an opportunity to do that. Like when she was like kind of talking about her childhood in like episode 4 and episode 5, which I feel like has a whole thing, that's like a whole other topic. But like in episode 4 and episode 5, she's like kind of talking about her relationship with her mom and how like super judgy she was. And it didn't seem like she had the option to like disagree or get mad or like not see something from such a positive light, because it probably led to bad things. And obviously this is like, you know, I mean, I'm making assumptions here. Obviously, like that's not all completely canon, but what is canon is her mom had issues with her and she's not even sure if her mom cares that she like just disappeared off the face of the earth. So, I mean, I'm just gonna put 2 and 2 together and just assume like, hey, she doesn't have very many relationships where she feels really safe. So, duh. Of course she's gonna be fawning. And now you got people who are like, well, there's plenty of people who don't have like satisfying relationships where they feel safe and they don't do that. Like, yeah, but that's not, people are all different. They have different resources and the way they process things and whatnot. But Ragatha, that is her way of like trying to keep herself safe. So no, she can't just like stop, because that would be like literally a threat to her survival, which we kind of see in episode 6 when she was talking to Kira. When I'm referring to fawning, I'm referring to like fight flight system. So like with fight or flight, it is when your body is perceiving a threat and it has to decide what it needs to do to keep itself safe. So when you're in this place, your frontal lobe kind of shuts down a little bit, or prefrontal lobe. Don't quote me, not neurologist. I'm just the neurovascular level therapist. But like this front part kind of like shuts down a little bit, so all the resources can go towards like keeping yourself safe, because this front part, it's really useful for like conceptualizing things, maybe executive functioning, but that's not really helpful when there's a threat, because when we perceive a threat, it's like a lion's coming after to eat our face, and like we don't need to prioritize things when a lion's trying to eat our face. So we either fight or we flee. But there's people who talk about other things like fawning, which is when you try to please the thing that's trying to hurt you. So like if you have a parent or guardian or a boss who constantly hurts you, whether it's emotionally, mentally, physically, whatever, and you're trying to keep yourself safe because you have no other choice but to be around this person, you're gonna try to like make yourself more palatable for them, because if you can make them happy, then the probability of you being safe kind of goes up. So it is people pleasing, but not like, but it's like a safety mechanism. If Ragatha was wanting to work on her fawning behaviors and feel more secure in her relationships, she would actually need to just, well, I mean, when it goes back to safety, like there needs to be an actual sense of safety for her. And I don't know if she's gonna get that in the digital circus, seeing that they're all trapped in the space and there's like someone who's literally like a threat. But part of it is like, one, I think it's complicated. Okay, because for part of safety is you have to tell what's safe versus what's not safe. And that's really hard to tease out if you're used to everything being a threat. I think in one of the books I read, it was kind of talking about like thinking about that fight-flight system as like a faulty fire alarm. Like it detects everything as a fire when maybe it's just like you breathing hot air or, you know, like steam from the shower or whatever. Like it thinks everything's on fire, which makes it really hard for you to figure out, okay, do I need to like run out of the house and like not burn to death, or can I just like, you know, chill? And so she would need to start learning how to like figuring out what is safe, what's not safe. How would she know it's safe? Just because you have that feeling of that there's a threat doesn't mean that there's an actual like threat. So like Jax, he is a threat. But Pomni, she may or may not be a threat. She doesn't know her well enough to know that she's not a threat, but based on kind of how like they got together at the end of episode 6, she may actually be a safe person for her to just like, oh, I feel really uncomfortable with this. How do I sit with this? She also would need to like stop bagging on herself, because it sounds like she's really critical of herself and she takes on responsibility that isn't actually hers. So she would probably need to like start teasing out, okay, what is hers, what isn't hers? Okay, that is her responsibility, not like pointing your finger like it's your fault or whatever, because I feel like it's never really helpful. Okay, that's that's an all or nothing statement. I rarely ever hear like blaming in a your fault kind of way, like in a it's never really helpful. Okay, yeah, I'm going back into it. Rarely ever helpful. So, but I mean, there is kind of, it's helpful to take responsibility when you actually need to. Also, it helps other relationships. So yeah, she would need to like do some stuff like that, figuring out what's hers, what's not, because she takes on way more than what's hers. Okay, so for Ragatha, her attachment style, so maybe we should take a step back and talk about what does attachment style even mean. Is the way that you, I guess, like interact with other people and attach to other people. It's usually developed like throughout childhood. People who, and there's a few different types. So there's secure attachment, where you trust and you feel safe in most of your relationships. Life is, I was gonna say easy, it's not easy, but like you trust the relationships. You don't feel like this fear that people are gonna abandon you or they're gonna hurt you. You're able to reach out to people as needed. You're able to like put up boundaries as needed without fearing like, oh no, everything is ruined. So like you're secure in yourself and your relationships. Then we have like anxious attachment, where you are scared of people like leaving you or judging you, and I guess essentially being lonely. And so like you're gonna be doing things to try to make sure, like get that reassurance, like we're still good, right? We're still good, right? I hope we're still good. I hope we're still good, right? Individuals who have that attachment style also tend to have relationships where maybe they have experienced people like leaving them over minor things and whatnot. Then, and obviously, by the way, I'm gonna say these are all generalities. Each person's different, so I can't say one way or another, like that's it. But like in general, that's kind of like what's associated with that. And then you have like avoidant attachment, where maybe you've been burned too many times or you've been neglected and you don't really want to let people in. So you kind of push people away. You keep a distance. You're a person who doesn't need anyone, like needs You're beyond that. You are fine being an island of your own. But the problem is it also gets kind of lonely. But to allow yourself to get close to someone means you're going to be vulnerable. So it's just easier to kind of push them away. Like when someone gets close to you, that's when you're like, I feel the urge to kind of leave, like, or maybe hide stuff and whatnot. And then you have ambivalent, or it's kind of like this mixed style of, I don't know what I feel. I know when I was in undergrad, and I think even in grad school, I always had a hard time with this, but after reading the book, What My Bones Know, totally understand it in my soul, like at a different level, where you're not really sure how you're supposed to feel about like the people around you. So like if we were talking about a kid with a parent or a guardian or whoever, a secure attached kid would be like, yay, individual that I care for is near me, cool. An anxious person would be like, oh, okay, let me make sure that they're okay. I don't want to like offend them. You know, like that people pleasing. Avoidant, it's like, okay, I don't care. Like, I'm gonna just like go over here. Like, what, you want me to celebrate you? Ambivalent is, I don't even know how I'm supposed to react to you, because I may want to be nice to you. I might try to fawn. I may try to avoid. Like, what do I need to do to keep myself safe? So in those relationships, you're probably experiencing like people who are giving a lot of mixed signals, and therefore you don't really know how you're supposed to respond. And so like Ragatha, she definitely has like an anxious attachment. She is like, she gets a little clingy. She kind of like goes towards like, hey, we're still okay, right? We're still okay. So like in episode 6, she tells Pomni no. Pomni's like, hey, do you want to team up? And she's like, I don't know, no. I'm gonna go with Keener, you know. I don't want Keener to be with Jax. Like, oh yeah, understandable. And you can see Ragatha like freak out a little bit about like, oh crap, I told her no. And like maybe perceives like disappointment from Pomni, which I don't think she was disappointed. I think she was kind of taken aback, but I don't think she was disappointed. But she wanted to make sure that Pomni was okay. Why? Because she didn't want Pomni to like abandon her. She really likes Pomni and she wants to build something off that. And so she's like, oh, hey, Pomni, you know, if you ever need me, you know, I'm here. And Pomni's like, okay. Like, and it's not because, not saying that I don't think it's genuine. I think Ragatha is very genuine in how she cares for other people, but she wasn't using it for that in that moment. She was using that like, look, see, I promise, like, please don't leave me. Because she doesn't trust that the people that are around her are actually gonna stick around and continue to like her. So like when it comes to attachment styles, ideally we're aiming for a more secure attachment style, not because like it's inherently like superior, like, oh, you're a better person because you have a more secure attachment style. It's just like the less painful one, because if you're anxious, you're kind of constantly worried about like whether or not people are going to abandon you, and therefore it's going to be hard for you to be your most authentic self, because if you being you is going to cause people to leave you. Like now you have to micromanage yourself, and that goes into masking and camouflaging, and that's just exhausting. That's called acting, and you're not even getting paid for it. Rude. In general, there is kind of a collectiveness that like we get benefits from. We're aiming to help someone move towards a more secure attachment, but it's not, but if you have any of the other ones, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you either. It just, I think it's just more, it speaks to like maybe the experiences you've had in relationships and maybe areas where you may want to grow or not, or whatever, you know, but it's not one's better than the other, like in terms of like, oh, you're a good person. Oh my gosh, yes.